Yesterday was all about the upsets, and I pray more than anything we get some more today. Immortals making their way to the stage just moments ago.
Big smiles.
I love the camera.
All right.
Hogging that camera time. That's what I like to see. Smiles and confidence as they make their way to an all-important playoff game. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the LCS Countdown. For 30 minutes, we rank the supports of the league, and then look at the road to Frisco until the timer reaches 0, and we jump into Champions Select. In Week 7 of the LCS, we've partnered with Active Minds. Check out activeminds.org/LCS to learn about healthy habits in gaming and keeping a positive mentality. For more information on this program and to hear more thoughts from our pro players, make sure to check out that link. Again, that is .org/LCS, activeminds.org/LCS. Our standings show that the playoff race is far from figured out, and with the spring finals fast approaching, Captain Flowers is going to give us a rundown, Frisco style, as he goes through the road to the rodeo.
Howdy, partners. Playoff race is getting hotter than a honeymoon hotel here, and only one steed is drawing a pat hand from a stacked deck. Now, would you get a look at that beaut? That marvel of a Mustang is faster than a sneeze through a screen door, but you ain't going home with that Bronco. No, sir. That's Cloud9, and it is way ahead of the pack and poised to win this whole damn thing. Now, if you do want a chance at catching up to that stallion, here's a couple of colts to get your whistle wet ahead of the race for the title. Now, this fly fella is a steal as it's got 2 legs up on the competition, and all the ponies behind him gets a little, well, as Mark would say, soupy. Now, this green fella gets off to a good start, but has a hiccup in its hind legs and is praying to Apollo that it can race come April. Now, this old girl here has seen better days. She still has some fight, but TSM can go from hotter than Hades to cold as a frosted frog. We'll have to see. This blue Bronco has got plenty of arrows in its quiver, and even though it's lost its longtime rider, it's looking just fine as race day approaches. All mares worth their merits. We'll see which filly is fixing to find their way to Frisco. Giddy up!
Thank you very much, Captain Flowers. We do have one more correspondent standing by. Let's send it over to the LCS Rodeo Clown.
Sorry, Dash. I was told y'all needed a CLG fan.
Yeah, I know what I said.
Damn, Dash, they won yesterday, Dash.
They beat TL and TSM.
Let's take a look at the standings. We find that TSM versus FlyQuest becomes a far more interesting game now that they're so close in the standings, while the Soup continues to do what it does best. Mark, what is Soup
Mark
do
talked
best?
about Soup.
I have tried to kill this week over week.
Yeah.
And I think it's dead.
Is it dead?
I'm not sure.
I don't know, because they keep putting it
look
in
at the
that
Soup.
prompter for me.
Look, Dignitas is falling out. TSM's almost they're gonna play FlyQuest today. They're gonna tie
Certain
him.
ingredients rise to the top of soups,
Speaking
and
of
certain
rising.
ingredients fall.
Right. And the ingredient that had fallen before is now rising the most. CLG is the most
CLG.
exciting thing in this soup. I love
CLG.
it.
They weren't even in the soup before. They're trying to get in.
They were
just
left out of the
wanted to
soup,
be
right? Neglected from the soup. Well, for many, especially after this split, FlyQuest may feel like a new team, but they've been a staple in the LCS for some time now. So to give us a quick history lesson, here's FlyQuest oversimplified.
FlyQuest are currently planting plenty of trees and look poised to be the second best team heading into playoffs. But that wasn't always the case, so I'm here to give you a crash course on the team while they're flying high. In FlyQuest, oversimplified. All the way back in spring 2017, FlyQuest burst onto the scene with some familiar faces. Balls, High, and Lemonation from the early Cloud9 days, joining forces with Altec and Moon. That squad initially shocked everyone with a 6-2 start, charming fans with off-meta picks like Zed and Evelyn. However, the honeymoon phase went sour and quick, as they went 1-7 over the weeks to follow, before reverse sweeping the quarterfinals and finishing 4th place. And that's the best they've ever done in their existence as a roster. Turtle would join the gang, but after coming up short in his quest for Worlds, the team saw fit to build around their new star marksman. Now we're in franchising. FlyQuest get a logo update and has a whole new cast around the bot laner with smiles for miles. But there's no honeymoon phase, and FlyQuest cycles through a cast of top-tier talent, but the puzzle pieces never quite fit together. It wasn't until we saw Santorin stepping up and Viper entering the fray that we get a sense for what this team could be. Fast forward to spring 2020, and the pair that once brought SKT to a Game 5 now seem like the missing pieces that the team needed to make this squad soar. Now they're saving the world and aim to exceed their 4th place finish from their inaugural season. And that's all you need to know in FlyQuest, oversimplified.
You know, you forget that sneaky fourth place finish from the first split. The
Fly
climb
high.
back
How
from
can you forget?
We have to add, though, that now they are the team planting all the trees and helping the environment, which I think is rallying a lot of people behind caring for FlyQuest in the first place.
They very much are doing that. They did get knocked down a peg, though, just yesterday with a loss. We'll have to see how they rebound. The day starts, though, with 100 Thieves aiming to take down Immortals. TSM, they're going to get their chance then to string another 2-0 week together as they face off against that FlyQuest squad. 2 more matches before we wrap things up with Team Liquid Academy versus Cloud9 Academy. Do not forget to join us tomorrow for Monday Night League, though, as we close things out with the final 2 games of the week, followed by Bud Light League Lounge, where Niski and Licorice join Riv and Avli for some fun after an intense series of games. Ahead of his match today, though, Zabutin actually weighed in on how he thinks SOAS ranks among top laners in the league.
I think Paul is playing really well. I expected a lot from him, you know. We spoke extensively before even he signed or even he considered going to NA. I know him since a very long time. I think people really underrate what he brings to a team, not only in terms of like playing late game, because people only think that it's his signature, but he brings so much to the review, brings so much like feedback to younger players or less experienced players. So I expect a lot from him, because the better the player is, the more he has to like push the team forward. But I think that he delivers a lot in Immortals, and I'm very happy of his work right now. I mean, we are a little bit Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Immortals, you know. Sometimes we play really well, sometimes we play really, really bad. So it's very hard to rate us. I think consistency is the word for pretty much every NA team. I feel like we have kind of, besides C9, we all have the same thing in our plates. And it's not easy to kind of overcome the point where you're consistent at a certain level. But we're working on it, and we're hoping that it's going to be enough to reach playoff, because it's in BO5 that you actually gain the experience, and the players are extra motivated as well to kind of improve. So I really want to go to playoff.
Well, in keeping with the theme of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Immortals, Immortals do come into this match looking to take down a 100 Thieves squad that, in a lot of ways, looked like a mirror image of themselves with their play.
Yeah, I mean, 100 Thieves, they had a game plan yesterday, which was we're going to attack top lane. We picked the Renekton, and we're going to gank up there over and over again. And that's what they did, and they just kept going and going and going. It was not working great at first. You know, Acadian was there covering all these ganks, and then eventually, as the game went on, they just actually started working, because the enemy team started making mistakes. They weren't having good enough vision control, and that eventually forced them into a late game Baron throw.
Yeah, it was such a weird game. It's like one team would send their whole team for a top laner, then the other team would send their whole team for a top laner, and eventually, when they sent 2 people to Huni, Dignitas was like fed up with it and said, okay, we're actually gonna do Baron this time. Just do Baron, guys. But it was a really bad call, and it ended up working out.
Yeah, just keep doing the same thing until the enemy makes a mistake in the late game.
Right.
That's Immortals' game plan.
Yeah. What do you do when you fail? Fail harder. And then eventually you'll stop failing?
I mean, it's a game plan that's not that bad right now, because every single game is so close with the soup, and a lot of teams are making mistakes. So I honestly think that you can take this strategy of just tilting your opponent into a position to make something that is uncharacteristic, then you punish and you can win.
And I will say that I think that is how Immortals gets a lot of their wins, and Zabutin touched on it briefly, like the thing that SOAS usually gets credit for. It's for a good reason. Like, he actually has a very good ability to turn even games in the favor of Immortals. His Camille game last week against, I believe it was CLG, was just so dominant in the fact that the game was actually close, but it never felt like COG had a chance to win once SOAS started splitting around. This is a very real skill. This isn't just like, oh, blah, blah, blah. He's done this for 8 years.
It's like
and it's the way he finds
attention,
wins.
right?
Yeah.
Like you have to answer him, and it feels like the enemy team always underestimates how many resources they need to deal with him.
And that's a lot of gameplay, like team fight replays, but the most important thing he did with Camille was he played the split push really well, and he made it so that they were never actually in map, like CLG never had map control, even when things were going in their favor, because he was such a thorn in their side.
That was a 50-minute game where 7 dragons were picked up between the 2 teams, so it did really extend. Again, speaks to Immortals finding some of those victories in the ultra-late game. The question becomes then for 100 Thieves, do they choose to attack a player like SOAS? Is he the person that you need to, you know, take down in order to expose Immortals, ultimately?
I wouldn't say he's the person you have to attack, but he's opposite of the person that you have to absolutely entrust with your resources. You have to let Someday carry.
Okay.
We've seen what he can do with Aatrox. We've seen what he can do with the Lucian, but Renekton's not meta right now. He's not a champion that's really going to take you all the way across the finish line. you gotta commit to someday, and he's inherently going to beat SOAS.
Immortals 100 Thieves, that's coming at you in just about 20 minutes. We are going to step away for a quick break. When we return, Jatt reclaims the game show reigns for another edition of Jatt Stats. Welcome back to the LCS Countdown, just about 17 minutes away from that first game of the day. While I begged our producers to allow our game show to persist, there weren't enough sparkly jackets to sustain the program, unfortunately. So today, we're going to go ahead and bring back Jatt Stats. Jatt, go ahead.
The original Countdown game show dash.
I know. I thought I had you.
Yeah,
I thought our ratings were going to be good enough.
It was better.
I really like giving hints the last time, so I have like so many hints that eventually someone's going to say the right answer.
Okay.
So just like guess quick.
Setting us up for failure,
and when
Jatt.
it's wrong,
Thank you.
I'm just going to give you the next hint.
All right, beautiful.
So the first question, this player has 11 unique picks in 13 LCS games, which means he's played the most champions in LCS this split.
Power of Evil. Ignore.
No one's right yet. I'm going to start giving you champions. Ornn.
Bjergsen.
Bjergsen is a good
Rumble.
guess.
Power of Evil.
Ruin.
Set.
Ruin.
We already said PoE, didn't we?
Akali.
Akali.
Oh, Broken Blade.
Broken
There it
Blade.
is.
Yeah,
Broken
there it
Blade.
is.
Yeah, he's the
Okay.
only
How many
person to play
guesses did I
Akali.
take?
Well, he was the only
too
one to
many.
play
We took
Akali,
too
so
many
as soon
to
as
get
you got
that.
that, then you knew.
4, but
Yeah.
like,
Got it right.
The
You got it
Ornn
right.
was a good misdirect,
Yeah.
though, because you want to go straight for a mid laner, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. That was
It
a good
had
misdirect.
been 11 champions in 12 games until he had a second set game in the C9 win yesterday. So
Destroying his own stat.
yeah, I mean, he could have just kept going. Ignar is the most for supports.
Okay.
Question 2, you need to guess the LCS team that I'm talking about based on the stats that I give you. So this team is first in the league in first blood percentage, 77%.
Whoa.
They're also 4th to 6th in first tower. So they're
Golden
getting
Guardians.
the turrets.
TSM.
TSM.
I was about to say TSM.
They're 9th in Drake percentage at 31%, and then I was going to start listing.
What is this Jeopardy? I don't get to give an answer because I didn't speak fast
You
enough.
didn't buzz in fast
You didn't
enough.
buzz in quick enough.
In old Jatt Stats, which I loved, we would all get an answer.
Yeah.
Give me a daily double. Daily
There was
double.
too much like
I'll bet it all.
pandering. Okay, I mean,
I'll take questions. Dash can
I was gonna
answer
say-
for
we
a
can
million
pretend to
points.
give away LCS stock again, right?
Win?
Yeah, right.
I will agree. At
I'll
least we
take
didn't
questions only for me.
So this isn't even mine. It's just so speaking of the game show dash, there was a game show question that we didn't get to.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So remember the team scramble where we start listing teams and you have to guess the players.
Okay, we doing that here?
We got it right here. Just-
I like how you're stealing my
Yeah.
content, Jatt.
That's what I do.
All right.
I just repurpose things. So we can get
I'm
the teams
ready.
up. Hopefully.
Ready.
Here's a trick
On screen somewhere.
Show me.
Okay.
Origin.
It's an optic player.
Medios.
Do I get to buzz in or do
we only get one guess?
No,
Medios.
Okay, you get one guess. Guess as quick as you
well,
can.
now I
You've
don't-
already guessed.
Well, no, that's not fair.
All right, well, you were right. So, like,
Yeah, I know.
Oh, whoa.
Taj already nailed it.
Yeah.
Like, it was
Nice.
so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like the reverse psychology, like what player's been on these teams, but you wouldn't think of.
Well,
right away.
it's right. Yeah,
yeah.
it's because I was like the last Origin player that I would think, or not Origin, Optic Gaming player that I would think of who's been on a lot of teams would be Medios. Because first, I would think Crown, like the people who kind of were introduced alongside that org.
Right.
FlyQuest was the
okay,
misdirect.
Did you enjoy this version more, or did you like meandering and eventually getting it wrong, or did you like how everyone got something right?
I like that I got one right.
Feels like a participation trophy.
I miss
like
laughing
it.
at Dash.
It's gotta be tough.
I don't don't like that Dash is getting them right.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
yeah, it was less enjoyable.
So
for
the
that reason.
segment lives or dies by my success. Wonderful.
I wanted to say how you thought he was copying your thing. You know, you copy from one person, it is plagiarism. Copy from 100, it's inspiration.
Interesting.
Oh,
I was just going to say that, isn't that like the best form of flattery?
Imitation.
Right? Imitation.
Yeah.
The greatest form of flattery. Thank you, Jatt. I'm so flattered. As we go to break, Team Liquid, they held a press conference to discuss the team's current performance and sent none other than esports' best PR spokesperson, Mr. TL.
I have been hearing many reports that Team Liquid is in trouble or not the best team in the league, and I'm just here to answer questions around that topic to kind of get rid of any fake news.
Mr. TL.
Yes.
Yes, Dash from the Q. Mr. TL, aren't you Mr. Dignitas?
I think I was quite clear about being Mr. TL, so that's preposterous.
Mr. TL.
Yes, over there.
Hi, the Tigers from Monday Night League.
Hello.
So according to Medicine Net, it takes about 1 to 2 days for every hour of time change. Now, Broxa took a bit more of a laggy approach when he came for the 9-hour difference. Was he trolling?
He wasn't trolling, but it was because of his massive muscles.
Mr. TL.
Yeah.
Are you concerned that Brox is playing professional League of Legends with an unbound smite key?
I do not understand why an unbound smite key would be a weakness. I feel like that allows him to be more flexible.
Mr. TL.
Yes.
Mark with Hotline League. Why are you holding a press conference if Spring Split doesn't matter?
First off, I don't know what Hotline League is, and Spring Split matters very much as we've won it twice.
Mr. TL.
Mr. TL.
Yes.
Yes, Dash. I sit 3 desks away from you. Are you, with Doublelift out of the lineup, who is responsible for taking out the trash?
Oh, the trash is taken out by many talented staff at Team Liquid. We have a training facility, I don't know if you heard about it, it's called the Alienware Training Facility, best in the league.
Mr. TL.
Mr. TL, who is inside Blue the Horse?
Oh, it was Broxa. Yes.
Dave, Low Elo Times. How do you think it makes people feel when you don't answer their question and just say next question?
I've never done that. Next question.
Mr. TL. Mr. TL.
Yes.
All right, the Tigers back here. What will it take for myself to earn a chance to challenge Broxa to a physical competition?
Oh, that's a fantastic question. You should ask him on Twitter.
Mr. TL, last one here, please.
Yes, Mark.
I'm Mark with the dive.
I know.
Maybe more recognizable. I was wondering
show.
how long until Doublelift comes back in? I only watch because of him.
That's a very interesting question. Doublelift will come back in when it gives us the best chance to win. And that's, since we win all the games, and you never really know when that's going to happen. That's all the questions. Thank you.
Welcome back to the LCS Countdown, just about 9 minutes away from that first game. And we're going to go through some support tier lists, continuing on with the trend. This one a little tougher, I think, to evaluate at times because there are just less metrics that you can really point at.
Right, it's a little harder to work with stats with them, so I think you just have to figure out what's important to you. For me, it's about roaming and playmaking with those roams and things like that, engages, because it's a lot of tank supports. It's about vision control, and it's about laning. Those are the three main things that I'm looking at least, when judging support.
Do you have a difference of...
Those things are in my criteria, but for the majority, it's how high are their highs? Like, what is their impact on a team fight? Are they winning it? What are their impacts on a gank? How responsible are they for setting up a team? And so I put that as my criteria, and it turns out we now have a spot the difference kind of
I was
chart.
going to say, if the two of you align on the
Copy my homework,
metrics,
just make it look a little
then
different.
in a lot of ways, it makes sense that you guys would identify, you know, players in similar positions. So let's work through a few of them. C9 Vulcan, who the heck is this guy?
The best support in the league, James. How do you not know who Vulcan is? He's been absolutely crushing it. Obviously, all of C9 is, but he has been a very important part of that improvement, this split for the entire team. He's the best, probably mechanical support in the league, especially just in terms of actual playmaking. He's so good at finding kills with his team.
He's got a very high KDA as well. I think it's 11.2 right now with only 11 deaths total.
No mistake.
So we'll show it right. If he has 11 deaths right here, you got Stunt and Keith. They're about to hit 50, which shows you just how much time...
Together.
Individually, almost, which shows you how much more time Vulcan can have on the map. But obviously, it's a testament to how the teams are doing as well.
Absolutely. It is a duo down there in the bot lane. Moving right along, though, down the list, again, we find Ignar, somebody that we've pointed out as being a big difference maker for this FlyQuest squad.
And it was from the Jatt stats where we know just how many champions he's playing. He's really doing a lot for the support role.
For supports.
When it comes to coming up with a champion that really helps the team out, whether it's the Blitzcrank experiment that we've seen or the Shen that we saw yesterday. You know, we will give him a slap on the wrist.
He did it for the stat.
Right.
He did it for the stat, baby.
Did it for the stat, but I mean, the guy has turned FlyQuest into an actual machine that fires on all cylinders when they get going, and he's responsible for it.
Yeah, I think that's a big part. He's really responsible, whereas, like, you know, Vulcan is a part of a huge team that loves all fighting. Ignar seems to be the one leading them in a lot of ways. And I think it's interesting that two people are above our former support MVP and CoreJJ from last year.
Let's talk about him then, because exactly right. I think the conversation around CoreJJ would be that expectations are high. World champion into an MVP support here in North America, multiple titles under his belt already, and yet he's being beaten out by a couple of his counterparts.
I think CoreJJ has a harder time standing out on Team Liquid because you're dealing with a role that is so ingrained with the synergy with jungle and bot lane. You have to play with a sub jungler most of the split. Now you just have Broxah. You have to play with Doublelift. Now you've got tactical. So I'm giving him a little bit of a pass for having to deal with that and still being able to perform with stats that rival Vulcan's.
I was going to say, we've seen glimpses in a couple of those games with tactical, some of that kind of laning dominance and prowess creeping back in, but a line there with third place?
Yeah, absolutely. I think CoreJJ is eyeball test-wise as well, still playing super, super well. The rest of the team not quite as dominant, and so he doesn't have quite as many opportunities to show off.
All right, well, we said spot the difference. I've spotted the difference.
You found it.
I found it. It took me a little while, but I did it. 5 and 6. We got Zeyzal, then Hakuo over here, and we got Hakuo and then Zeyzal over here. So duke it out.
All right.
Who's right? Who's wrong?
All right, Zeyzal, a lot of people have been criticizing his laning.
Yeah.
And I understand why, because it's kind of in comparison to Vulcan. And we all know Vulcan's maybe the best laning support in the league. That doesn't make him bad, and I think he's still better than a lot of other people on this list. He's playing with Bang. They clearly had to take some time to figure out the synergy problems that they were having, but he's still a monster playmaker. He has really high forward percentage. They're playing aggressively, and he's still doing a good job for the most part of meeting up with Svenskeren. The whole team has had large issues, and support and junglers are often the ones who bear the symptoms of a team the most when things aren't going well.
All right, Crumbs, tell me why he's wrong.
Well, he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Well, everything you said,
you gotta inject something into this segment here.
Okay.
You guys are so aligned.
I do want to start with praises for Zeyzal, particularly with the Senna Rumble combo that they busted out. I thought that's actually really innovative, really ingenious. I love that synergy. I've been playing it myself. I really approve. And that's boosting his stats a lot. So he's actually got such crazy high numbers of damage, kill share, gold share.
Right.
So it's kind of hard for me to judge Zeyzal statistically because of that anomaly game. And when you have someone like Hakuho, whose team is so inconsistent, he seems to be the one guy that is doing the same thing every single game. But as a support, if your lanes are all acting up, you don't have that much to do.
Well, one of our other supports who's had to deal with a swap as
That's
well.
what I was about to mention.
Yeah.
Is prior to the swap, Alltech had some of the lowest laning stats in the league, and it was pretty clear that they were not trying to fight early.
Right.
That hurt a lot of Hakuhos as well, where if you're back and forward percentage, you're not taking aggressive trades, you're not being able to get out and roam quite as much. So I do think that pairing might have held him back a little bit, and we'll have to see if now that he's reunited with Apollo, he can maybe start climbing on my list.
Right, he's always been talked about as a fairly lane-dominant support, and of course has tons of experience with Apollo in the lineup, and so we'll see what they can get done in the back half of the split. One last slot here I want to talk about would be Keith in slot number 10 for both of you, but this in consideration with the fact that Keith has been subbed out and Huhi is coming in. So a lot of this I want to frame around the expectation for Huhi and whether or not it should be that he comes in and immediately outperforms Keith on this list, or what's going on? What do you guys think?
So it's likely that he comes in and outperforms Keith. Huhi
Really?
has been playing decently well in the academy. He has a lot of vocal shot calling traits to him, which are going to be really useful for a team that is having a lot of isolated deaths. So Huhi might be the guy to get them all on the same page. So I have high hopes for him. And to the people that think Keith wasted his time on support or Golden Guardians didn't give him a chance, I think he'll come out as a stronger player no matter what, whether he chooses to stay as a support or a bot laner. You have a better perspective on the lane now.
Huhi with FBI might not pair together as well in lane as the synergy built up with Keith, but to your point, you're hoping that you have improvements in vision score because Keith and a lot of members of Golden Guardian were leading the league in ISO deaths.
Number of teams making those last-minute swaps to try and complete the push towards playoffs. We'll see if it pays off for them. After all the upsets yesterday, I'm excited to see how you two will sway when it comes to our predictions for the day.
It was a tough day.
It was a very tough day. Whereas we thought yesterday was going to be an easy day to call and turned out not to be, this one does seem to be a little bit tougher. We've got 2 whole differences in the predictions.
Man,
between the two of
StatSpot's
you.
an idiot. I haven't
100
looked.
Thieves
They're
on the
doing
top.
terrible.
Immortals for Crumbs, and then we got Evil Geniuses versus CLG. But with the 2 of you disagreeing on 2 games today, let's go ahead and see which game will be the subject of Sunday's weekly wager. Yes, CLG EG, the last game of the day for the LCS. Mark Zimmerman, you have Evil Geniuses, and Crumbs, you have CLG. But I have to show you what you're playing for.
Okay.
So I'm going to invite my friend Dan out here to show them what they are playing for. The loser of this bet will have to do the final segment with the stretched mouth device.
Is it the doctors or the dentist?
Something like that. I don't know where we got it. Don't worry, we have other ones. Can you talk? Yeah, you can talk. You'll get it out there. So, how confident are you feeling about your predictions?
Please.
CLG. Mark, Evil
CLG beat TL and TSM, so I'm actually pretty worried.
Now you're worried.
But EG won yesterday, so I'm hoping they can. They beat FlyQuest.
Daniel, who do you think takes it? CLG or? What?
That's
was
my.
that?
That's
Did you
my
get
dating,
any of that?
That's gonna be my dating profile
I got
picture
none of that.
right there.
I got none of that. But that's what I'd expect. And we'll probably get nothing out of whichever analyst loses at the end of the day. Thank you so much, Daniel. I appreciate your help in this endeavor. Mark, back over to you.
Sorry, I didn't want to be near that.
Don't worry. We'll get you a clean
That was
one.
a surprise.
It wasn't a surprise? Yeah, you weren't expecting that today.
Nope.
Okay, finally, I want to hear win conditions for the first game of the day. So this is 100 Thieves Immortals, another game in which you two differed. We're going to start with you, Crumbs, 100 Thieves.
All right, 100 Thieves wins by helping Someday do his thing. We've seen him carry on champions like Lucian. We've seen him carry on the Aatroxes. You need to help the top laner. Right now, a lot of teams are starting to realize you can win through top, like TSM did with Broken Blade. 100 Thieves, clearly the carry is in top. If they're not helping him out, I don't know what VODs they've been watching.
All righty, Immortals.
Pick Trundle, and then pick stable lanes that don't fall off. They don't have to be dominant matchups, but just things that will be pretty durable in lane.
Win through top. Trundle and stable lanes. There you have it. That's going to do it for us at the Analyst Desk and LCS Countdown. Out to the arena to get into the games.
Thank you very much, Dash. Hello and welcome to the Battle Arena. We've got a battle between some squads coming up today. I am Freak. To my right is Jatt. How's it going?